Should be good to go. We doing it on YouTube this time. I like the fact that we're switching up. Let me make sure.
Let's see.
Oh yeah. All right. It's good on my screen.
Yeah, looks like we're good.
Alrighty. Um, so you can hear yourself. Everything's good. All right. With that being said, welcome to the WarTide podcast. This is episode 21. Been a little bit inconsistent this year, as you guys know. It's alright. It's alright.
Looks like
The
we're good.
off season, so we're not really stressing it too much. Before I say anything else, once March Madness is over, me and Garrett kind of came to an agreement that we'll do it every other week during the off season, just so we don't feel so pressured and having to put out a sloppy product, or feel like we're just chatting about things that we've already talked about 1,000 times. So just to put out a better product and be a little bit more consistent within ourselves. We're gonna do every other week through the off season, but I'm sure as soon as football season comes back, we'll be right back on every week, no problem.
Football is so easy to put together an episode.
that
The
is,
football, the hardest part is keeping the episode short because we could just talk and talk and talk.
Yeah. The funny thing about that is, like, sometimes my wife just wants me to lay down and not do the pod for the day, and it's like, no, don't worry, this will be a short episode, and then we'll be on live for 3 hours. It's hilarious. But that's a good thing, we're doing something that we like to do, and we don't feel like we're forcing ourselves to do it. So, very good thing, very good habit. But before I say anything else, I just want to give y'all the word of the day. It's Hebrews 12, verse 11. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. It's just a reminder, or at least to me anyways, that any disciplinary action or anything to keep me in check by God, it's meant to happen. So don't, obviously, like the verse says, you're gonna feel pain, you're gonna feel anger, you're gonna be upset, and that's okay. But if you just take your lesson and you learn from it, you take that discipline, you take that situation that God's put you in, and you learn from what He's presented in front of you, you're gonna blossom like a flower, like a rose. You're gonna become more righteous, and it's good all around. It's for a purpose. It's not just for nothing. So yes, while we can get angry and upset and feel certain ways about certain things at times, just know it's all for a good reason, and God always has a plan with everything that He does, and it's never for nothing. So with that being said, we're not going to get too much more into that. We're going to get straight into it. I guess the very obvious thing that we got to talk about is the season's over with. Auburn and Alabama played their last basketball game of the regular season against each other. And whoop-de-doo, what do you know? Auburn got belted. I don't have much to say about this game. I stopped watching at halftime. Completely embarrassing. It's an all-around effort, coaching, team. I don't really have much to say about it. It was embarrassing. Bama got the best of us this year. Clean sweep hasn't happened in a little minute. So definitely doesn't feel too good. But it's Stephen Pearl's first year. So I guess instead of talking about that basketball game, I'm going to give Stephen Pearl's first year a grade just because I want to. And at the end of the season, at the end of regular season, not counting anything else, we're going to give him a D+, or I'm going to give him a D+. It wasn't great. It wasn't good at all by any means. I don't think it was an F, though. A lot of Auburn fans are ready to out him and say that he's the problem. And there were definitely plenty of games that he was at fault. But I do want to give him that D+ for competing against number one Houston at the time, beating Florida at Florida, the only team to do that all year, beating St. John's, beating Arkansas by 20. So we did have impressive wins, and there were times this year that we did look like a good, competent team. But I just think the meshing of this current team, which I don't think is a good mesh, and I've been saying that all season, They're just not playing like a team. How they haven't meshed and how they haven't played so well together collectively as a group. And with it being his first time being a head coach and having the second hardest schedule in all of college basketball, overall we're just going to give him a D plus. Nothing to be too upset about. Could have been way better. Definitely some games we could have won. Um, but yeah, I don't even want to talk about the basketball Iron Bowl. So that's where I'm going to pivot to. But I imagine our good friend, our good Alabama friend here, Garrett, would love to talk about the Iron Bowl of basketball. So we're gonna let him talk about it, huh?
Yeah, look, I will talk a little bit about it, but um, I'm also gonna go ahead and give my grade for Steve. I'm gonna be a little bit more generous, just given the schedule, and I'm gonna go like a C minus, but I understand the D plus. Honestly, I think if you take out a couple games, um, like the Oklahoma loss, even though it's on the road, is a bad loss. The Ole Miss Mississippi State losses are bad losses. Trying to go back and look at the schedule. Um, but those are the really main bad losses. If you just take those losses, those games that you probably should have won, and turn them into wins, even if they're close wins, I think the outlook on the season is way different. You lost to good teams, you beat a few good teams in a first year head coach, but it was those bad losses that you really could not afford that really puts a negative outlook on the season, compared to Auburn standards, at least over the past few years for what Bruce has made it into. Um, is what it is. I'm going to be a little bit more generous on him though, but I could see if I was an Auburn fan, I could see the F grade because you did lose games that you absolutely should not have lost to. There is absolutely no way, 1 year removed from a Final Four, an Alabama year that is having a relatively down year, you should just get. I mean, they were down by almost 30 at one point. It would just it wasn't pretty. Um, as far as the game itself, I mean, it was there ever a doubt? I mean, Alabama just kind of handled their business. Didn't play fantastic. Didn't definitely played good. Alabama played good. They played really good. Auburn just did not play very good. And truth be told, I think Alabama is just the better team. I think it was clear. Um, no disrespect. It's just how it is. Um, better coached. But then again, look at where Nate Oates is in his career. Look where Steve Pearl in his career. I'd hope Alabama is better coached than Auburn. If not, that would be an issue. Um, but what do you expect? An Auburn team that's kind of struggled all year. Score kind of looked closer than what it was. Actually, the score definitely looked closer than what it was. But Keyshawn Hall not really showing up. Um, uh, non-factor. With all due respect to Keyshawn Hall. I don't remember a single play he made. I had to go back and look, and I saw he scored like, let's see, he had like what, like 13. I would have never believed it, because he
There was
basically did it.
there was probably like 10 free throws in there if I had to guess.
Let's see, he was 4 of 8, 3 of 3 from the line,
Okay, that's pretty low for
with
Keyshawn. So we'll give it
one
to them Alabama
assist
boys.
to 4 turnovers. So either Alabama just dogged him all game, or he just didn't show up, or maybe a mix of both. Um, But overall, Alabama won by 12. I think the line was 7.5, so they covered. Not a surprise there. Alabama pretty much put belt to them all game, up until the last like 7-8 minutes of the game when Auburn decided, oh wait, we're playing basketball. We should actually start trying. It's crazy what happens when you try. Um, but rough season for Auburn. Now into SEC tournament, they are literally fighting for their season. I think it starts Wednesday, um, where they play Mississippi State. They get a chance to avenge a loss that they
Good.
should not
Get a rematch.
have lost.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't let
Um,
Hubbard go off for 46 this game. I would like that
yeah,
game plan a whole lot.
yeah, yeah. If he does it, um,
That
so
would be
yeah,
pretty
I guess
embarrassing.
yeah. If he gets anywhere near that again, There's no way. There's no way. That was an excellent game from him.
Yeah, he was just
The
hitting
odds of
crazy
him
shots,
repeating that,
man.
yeah. The odds of him repeating that, and then I think you get tennis. Golly, then it just thundered really loud here. But
Yeah,
my whole house shook. Um,
yeah.
but I think you
Winner
get
plays
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yeah, that's correct.
That's not a good draw for Auburn. Now there's
I
really no good draws in the second round, because didn't you beat Tennessee earlier in the year?
We lost, but to me it was a competitive
You
game. I
got
think Tennessee's a winnable game. I would favor them over a lot of the other. I would rather play Tennessee than Alabama again, or Florida again, or Arkansas again.
well, all those teams have the double bye, so you can't get them in the second anyway.
Okay.
It's impossible.
Well, I was saying
But
those are the better team. Like those are the
yeah,
best teams in the SEC,
yeah,
and I would prefer Tennessee out of those other guys.
yeah. I think you get Tennessee, and then if you win that, you'd get Vandy. Maybe I could be
I
wrong.
have no clue. I haven't
Um,
looked too deep into the bracket, the SEC tournament bracket. Yo, what's going on,
with
Juan? I just want to acknowledge. We'll get to
Owens
that
is he?
question when we get to the NFL part of the podcast. But I'll be sure to make sure I answer that question.
All right. So clearly, if Auburn does not beat Mississippi State, they are not in the tournament. Like you have to beat Mississippi State, and then you have to be competitive versus Tennessee. That's a
Right.
whole nother topic as to whether or not they should be in the tournament. But before we get to anything else, like in any deep conversations, you lose to Mississippi State, you're done. There's no way. At least you would think there's no way. There's a way, but very small chance that that could happen. Um, I'm sure we will talk more about that, but overall, not a very good regular season for Auburn, at least for the standards. It honestly looked really good. Started off pretty good.
Right.
It's been the tail end of the season the past month that's really put a damper on this season. Um,
2-9 in the
I don't.
last 11.
Yeah, I don't.
So very rough ending.
And I would have expected it to be flipped. I would have
Yeah,
expected it to be rough at
me
first.
too.
So that's where it kind of confuses me as to why that is. I don't, just plays out that way sometimes, I guess. But if you just look at the first half of the season, very solid start for Stephen Pearl. If you look at the last month, you're already looking at, okay, who's gonna be next? Yada yada. Um, but give us some time. They're not gonna fire him this year. Um, so he has another chance, at least one more chance to get it done, or put up a productive season. So we'll see what he does.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned yet. I still like everything about Steven. It was a learning experience. And you go look at some of these other coaches. Like let's just take Golden for example. The guy just won a national championship. Look at his first season. I think he had a very similar record to what Stephen Pearl just did. So like I said, I'm not concerned at all. All things considered, with just the schedule, and the roster. It was not favored for Steven to be successful this first year. So I'll give him that. Like I said, I'm not worried. I still think he's a good coach. He just needs time, and the right roster. So no complaints. Not a good season by any means, but and to kind of comment on what you said about you have to beat Mississippi State to even have a chance. I was saying it all last week leading up to the game. Beat Bama, you're in. Lose to Bama, you're out. I think it's that simple. I don't think anything they do in the SEC tournament, unless they just win the whole thing, and
I mean,
I don't see
yeah,
that happening whatsoever. But they'd have to make an extremely strong push in the SEC tournament to buy their way in my opinion. But I think it's as simple as you lost to Bama embarrassingly. You don't deserve to be in. And I think it's that simple. We have the resume. I'm not saying we don't have the resume, but when it comes to deserving spots, there are other teams that are deserving in the country that, might not have the exact same resume as Auburn, but did not lose and get embarrassed on the same level as Auburn. And so, for that reason, I think we should be out. and I'm okay either way. If we get in, we get in. If we don't, we don't. I've said this multiple times on the podcast. I wasn't worried about it this year. I don't
Yeah.
think the tournament should have been our main goal. Obviously, it's nice. It's everybody's main goal, right? But first year head coach, whole new team, second strength of schedule in the country. If you don't make it, it's gonna be okay, guys. Like I promise. It was a good way to learn what we're in for. You know, it was a good way for Stephen Pearl to learn what he's in for, and where we can move forward. So, I'm not too stressed either way.
Yeah, I don't think Auburn has to win it all. I think the bubble's weak enough, and I think enough teams are kind of from what I'm watching struggling in the conference tournaments that I think if you beat Tennessee, you're in. I think if you win in that second round game, I think you're in. Um, but I think that's what has to happen. Unless there's an insane amount of bid stealers, which can put a wrench in so many different plans if those happen anyway. Although I would like to correct one thing you said earlier. You said, Alabama like swept Auburn this year. It hasn't happened in a minute. It happened the season before last with Brandon Miller when he was there. Bama
Did it?
swept Auburn that year too. Yeah. So,
Who do we have that
um,
year?
yeah, I can't even remember because I think that Auburn team
That
was really not
that would have
very
been
good.
Janai Broom's first year on the Plains.
That makes sense. Was that Brandon Miller's year? Let's see. Last year was we traded the year before that. Was that Brandon Miller's year? It was whatever the year Brandon Miller was there was the last time we swept, like Alabama swept Auburn, which was the
Uh,
2022-2023 season.
that's 3 years ago, I guess. So
Yeah. But it felt good. It felt so good. Yeah, sweep always feels nice. Um, but and unless both teams make it to the SEC championship, then they will not meet again this season. Um, the odds of that are low. Um, it would be hilarious if Auburn found a way to like get in the tournament and was sitting at like the 12 to 13 line and played Alabama in round one would be hilarious. Because it's really not that crazy of an idea. Auburn goes and beats Tennessee. They fall in at the 12 line. Alabama gets bounced early in the tournament. They sit at like the 5 seed. Not impossible for Alabama to fall. Unlikely, but possible. And then boom, they're meeting in the first round. I don't think that the tournament would do that. The NCAA committee really doesn't like interconference teams playing each other round one, so they probably would do everything they could to separate that. But imagine that'd be insane. Um, but yeah, if you graded Stephen Pearl's first season, I will grade Alabama's regular season. I will say it is A minus, area for improvement. But overall, like compared to the trajectory that it was on not too long ago, Bama predicted like a 7 or 8 seed by some people. Now they're looking like there could be a 3 or 4 seed depending on what happens in the SEC tournament. Sitting on the 2 seed in the SEC tournament, I think that's a positive. Um, Still have glaring weaknesses though. You look at the Florida game, you look at the Purdue game from earlier in the season. What beats Bama still beats Bama, and that really hasn't been corrected. Georgia, just a few days ago, what beats Bama still beats Bama, so that didn't really change. So I'll keep it at an A minus, but overall a good season.
I'd give it the same. And more so on the aspect of looking at the roster coming in, I wasn't sold on this level of success for Alabama, and they completely proved me wrong. They look like an Alabama team, and I don't expect anything less from Nate Oates. He's an excellent coach, um, but just the talent drop off from last year to this year was definitely there. I do think that last year's roster was significantly better, but on the court you can't tell. You couldn't tell, and that's a good thing for Nate Oates and that Alabama squad. So all respect to them, I give them the exact same grade, but more so on the side of just what he's doing with the roster that he has.
By the way, LeBaron Fallon not being even in the top 5 finalists for the best point guard in the country this year is a shame. That's ridiculous. LeBaron Fallon is a top 5 point guard in the country. Even if he is 5th, he probably is 5th. But we could count it out.
Let's see, Peterson, a cuff.
Does Peterson really count? Dude ain't even played. He hasn't even played. I would rather have Fallon
But
than Peterson. I'd rather have Fallon than Peterson on my team.
It depends on how we're looking at this.
Well, talent-wise, you give me Peterson 100 days of the week. There ain't even 100 days in a week.
I guess considering like in an accolade perspective, I guess we can take out Peterson.
Because, I mean, he hasn't even played, really. But, I mean, for argument's sake, we can throw Peterson, Acuff. I would 100% take Acuff. Braden Smith at Purdue has been balling all year.
Yeah.
But you really don't get much more than that.
After that, I'd be drawn to a blank. I'd have to give LeBaron Fallon his flowers.
But he's not even top 5, and we let Peterson be in that conversation. The only point guard that I see the only 2 point guards I see that are head and shoulders better than LeBaron Fallon are Acuff and Darren Peterson. Yeah, and some people say Darren Peterson is a 2 guard, so that might make him irrelevant to this conversation just off that alone. Fallon's not out competing Acuff. Acuff is that guy. He deserves it
for sure. I love Darius Acuff.
He will be a top. He'll be a top 10 pick easily for a reason. If I'm in the top 5, I'm giving him a hard look. Might even pick him. We'll get into that later, but in the off season. But yeah, not even being mentioned in the top 5 was crazy.
Do you have that top 5 list?
Now let's see.
We can look it up right now. I am curious to see.
That's 2020.
Oh, there is Kingston Fleming.
I forgot about Fleming.
Fleming's is good. I think though I would rather have LeBaron Fallon.
They have Fears on there. Fears keeps kicking dudes in the nuts and getting technical fouls, but he is a dog.
Fears is a dog. But once again, I think I would rather have LeBaron Fallon.
I'm biased, but there's not too many guys in the country I'd rather have than LeBaron Fallon.
I don't want to give LeBaron Fallon or any Alabama player any credit. LeBaron Fallon is that guy. He deserves more respect.
He's that guy. He is that guy. But oh well, whatever. It is what it is. If he really is that guy, people had stuff to say about Mark Sears. Mostly respect, but there were people that had said stuff about Mark Sears. Typical with every player, there's gonna be people that say stuff about Acuff and it doesn't make sense, but people will say it. Fallon has the opportunity to showcase it. It will be in the tournament here in a couple weeks now. And if he's that guy, he can go on his Mark Sears run and kind of shock everybody. Yeah, I kind of find it funny. If you go back a couple years ago, right before the Final Four run, Alabama was a 4 seed and was playing their worst basketball right before and during the SEC tournament. Alabama kind of struggled versus Georgia, but before that they were playing really well. And people just kind of counted them out. Oh, they're too small. They're going to run into that one team. And Alabama went and made the Final Four, and it was solely because they got the right matchups and because Nate Oates put on an absolute masterclass of a coaching game plan versus North Carolina. I was going back and watching the game highlights today. Nate Oates, fantastic game plan. Probably the best game plan he's ever put together. So if we could do that again this year, look, Final Four, this is a Final Four capable team. It'll be tough because this year is insanely talented, top heavy. So I probably won't pick it in my bracket, but definitely the standard this year is still Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, like it has been the past few years, and I fully expect that they're going to be in the Sweet 16, probably, hopefully in the Elite 8. Just kind of depends who the draw is.
Yeah, I think it just all depends on if they can keep this momentum up. I mean, and that's the hard part. Um, Last year, Auburn peaked way too early, unfortunately. Like, if that peak would have been in the tournament, I don't think there's a team in the country that messes with Auburn. And you can almost say the same for Alabama any year that they're reaching their peak and then they're hitting their stride. The tough part about that is their peak has been here for a minute now. Been here about a month, maybe a little bit more. We still got to play the SEC tournament, and then we
Yeah.
got to start the March Madness. So keeping that peak there for another month, it's a hard ask, but if they can do it, they can definitely reach Elite Eight, Final Four, potentially even a national championship, because they are that good when they are hot. So I think it all depends on that. Are they still hitting their shots? Are they still getting out in transition, scoring fast buckets? It's all up to this Alabama team and how hot they decide to stay for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Alabama. It's going to be so matchup dependent, but at the same time, when Alabama hits a brick wall when it comes to their shooting, they hit a brick wall and there's no going through it. But whenever they are wide open and knocking down shots, I mean, if Alabama is hot from three throughout the whole tournament, they'll win the national championship, unless they just run into a team that is equally as hot. Because when you get that hot from three, which Alabama is capable of doing night in and night out, then the sky's the limit. It's like you said, it's gonna be so hard to stay like that. Not really worried, not even really thinking about the SEC tournament, but like going on from March 19th all the way on to the national championship game is a good 3 weeks. That's tough. That's tough. So we'll see. Um, hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully they just catch a fire and like all the rims in the tournament. We don't really need it the first round. Um, some people might say that like this Alabama, like the way Alabama plays, puts them like in a position where they could lose those early games, like if they're not hitting. I think quite the opposite. I think Alabama's pace and everything like really favors them in those type of games. Where Alabama struggles is when they run into those really good teams. Alabama tends to beat teams that they really should beat, compete with teams they should be competing with, and then Alabama just loses to teams that they should lose to. So I have no doubt Alabama will make it out of the first round. Second round depends on the matchup. Sweet 16 depends on the matchup, and so on. And then if they're hitting their shots, it's gonna be a fun March. If not, probably not looking at another Elite Eight for the third straight year, which would be sick. 3 straight Elite Eights would be pretty noteworthy for a program like Alabama, as it would be
Mm-hmm.
for a program like Auburn or most SEC programs for that matter, um, outside of a couple. So I don't know. Look, we'll see. I'm hoping.
I'm not. I'll tell you, I'm not. Not at all. Um,
I know you. I know you secretly. You secretly want to see Alabama do well.
who will I
It's okay.
bandwagon this year? Either
Well, you gotta see who makes it.
either Michigan. If
No
Miami's in
problem.
there, they should be. If Miami's
They will.
a team in a favorable bracket, I'll definitely be pulling for them. Shout out Trey Donaldson. I don't know if you remember, he was an Auburn guard a few years back. I love Trey
Yeah.
Donaldson. He plays in Miami, so I always root for them Auburn guys. And then, of course, I got to go for Yaxel.
Yeah, dude.
We claim him
I
down
like
here.
Michigan.
We claim him down
We
here.
do. We do. Whether he claims us, which he kind of does.
Hey,
Well,
he
we don't.
doesn't
He
have to, Bo.
graduated. He has that degree. He has a degree from UAB.
Oh, he
His
does.
diploma
I did not know that.
says University of Alabama at Birmingham. So whether he likes it or not, he is forever an
He is
alumni at
forever a
UAB.
Blazer.
Yeah, he is. He's a
So
graduate. But I do like Miami. I like their coach Jay Lucas. He was a Duke assistant for years, and I'm a big fan of him. He's gonna be good for a long time. So I like that you said Miami.
oh, and Arkansas. They're going to be my SEC team to follow. They're my favorites of the SEC. I think they're the best team in the SEC. Unpopular opinion.
Um, I think I'm still gonna go with Florida, just because they haven't given me any reason to not do that yet.
That's fair.
Just until they do, it's one of those things like they've earned their respect. I'm gonna give it to them until
That's
they
fair.
give it up. So, but when you have a guy like Acuff, you can beat anybody on any given night. Some dudes are just like that. He is like that.
Well, I also think that Arkansas roster is built perfectly around him, and
They
that's
are.
that's why I
They are
like that
great.
team so much.
And Cal is a fantastic coach. We make fun of him because, the first round exits, the disappointments, yada yada. You know the whole deal with him, but he can win. Um, so it's I was high on them last year in the tournament. I thought, they played Kansas in the first round, then they played St. John's in the second round. I predicted them to win both those games, which was not like a very high pick. But something was just like, no, this team is peaking at the right time. They're gonna go be able to win a couple games.
Did
And sure
they
enough, I was right.
did they lose to St. John's or did they lose in the next round? They lost to
They
Maryland.
no, they beat St. John's and then they played Texas Tech in the Sweet
Texas
16.
Tech. Okay.
Yeah,
I can't remember. I remember watching that St. John's game, and neither team could buy a bucket. That was a crazy game to watch.
it was
That
it
was
was
a
a
really
it was
fun,
a
exciting
very
game
good
for
game,
me.
dude. Because it was Coach Cal versus, oh man, I'm blank. Patino,
Yeah,
Rich Patino, whatever his name is.
Rick Pitino.
But
Yeah,
yeah, but dude, man, those two going at it was awesome. That was a fantastic game.
when we talk football, I say I like offense. When it comes to basketball, I love a physical defensive game. A game where neither team can buy a bucket, and every bucket feels like just such a
A
momentum
huge,
swing.
yeah.
And I love those games. They're so fun and so exciting, and that's exactly what that game was.
I just like I don't care. I'm a bigger fan of basketball than I am football. I love football. I love talking about football, but I understand the game of basketball better. Um, so as long as it's a competitive game, I don't care how it is. If it's shots after shot after shot after shot, great offense, I'm happy. If it's like you said, I'm happy. As long as it's competitive, I don't care how bad the product is on the court. I like competitive games. So,
That's how I
um,
feel about football, for sure.
yeah, yeah. So, dadgum. I don't know if you can hear the rain on my
No, I,
window.
I can't hear it over
Okay,
yours.
cool. I bet. But yeah, I guess the wind was blowing straight into my window right then. But we're all good.
Yeah, it
Um,
kind of calmed down
but
for
yeah,
me a little bit. So
I think it's just hitting its like peak here right now. So, but it doesn't really sound that bad. No thunder right now.
no, no, but we'll definitely see him, and we should. We talked about this before the live. After Selection Sunday, we should do our first bracket, and we'll see how that goes. Now, I will say it'll be our first bracket, but will it be our official bracket? Because one day that's a pretty tight schedule right there.
No, yeah.
I don't know if I
So
want that to be the official WarTide bracket.
no, no, sir. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be. Cause you see, I am the type who I don't finish my final bracket until Thursday morning about 10 o'clock, about an hour before the first game tips off. Cause I'm still looking at stuff, thinking about stuff, making changes if I want to make changes. I may last minute finish it, but like I make 100 brackets throughout the week. Um, so we will make a bracket, like a first glance bracket, but it's not gonna be the official brackets per se.
I will say last year in my group chat, I had the best bracket. So right now you're dealing with a champion. You got me in
Hey,
the predictions this year in the college football, but this might be my redemption.
hey, let me tell you something about my family. We take the March Madness bracket tournament challenge like very serious in this household. It's something everybody, even people that don't watch basketball, look forwards to every year. We literally have a trophy. We have a trophy for who wins. Like we take this very, very, very seriously, and I've come in second the past 3 straight years. Because somebody always just has a stupidly good bracket, and it's been very frustrating. I take this very serious. Anderson. This ain't even has anything to do with the podcast. This is just for my own doing because in the family bracket challenge. Here is notes upon notes upon notes upon notes.
Oh man, I don't think I stand a chance this year. Then
It's still going. It's still going. Of tournament teams. just so I can win my family bracket challenge. So, um, yeah, you're messing with an animal
You're
here when it comes to the
disqualified
bracket.
from using those notes for our bracket.
I hate to break it to you, a lot of those notes I have up in the dome. So,
Oh man.
but those have been being taken since November.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, there's
going over to
teams on
chat.
here that will never make the tournament. Like Seton Hall, I have like a whole paragraph for it. They're probably not going to make the tournament. So I don't know. We'll see.
Oh man. Oh well. Hey, hey, I'll do my research as soon as that bracket comes out. I promise. I'm doing my research. That's when I start doing my research and I start looking into my picks. I
The
watch
main
like
thing
my
on this,
whole YouTube recommended will be nothing but
oh
bracket
yes,
stuff.
bracket. See, for me, most of it, not all of it, most of it is what is a team's strengths and what is it weakness? What is their weakness? What is a good matchup? What is a bad matchup? Because that's what everything is. Do you want me to read my notes on Auburn? I haven't touched this in probably a few weeks before the slump, so I'm interested to see what I had for them. All right. Their biggest strength is their ability to get to the free throw line. Auburn was getting to the free throw
Obviously,
line pretty good. Um, they were top 10 in the country and getting to the line all year. I think that's still
I think
true.
they were. I think they finished top 3.
Okay. Tahad Pettiford is one of the best guards in the country when he decides to show up and like play offense. I think
And
I still believe that.
I will say, before you say another thing, you know, just speaking on Tahad Bedford, he started out really rough, and there was a podcast episode. It's almost like he watched. It's almost like he watched our podcast. It was a podcast episode. I said all Tahad needs to do is move the ball around, and he will find his shot. And this, I will say, I've been really impressed with the back half of Tahad Pettiford's season. He's been moving the ball, and he's been scoring 20 easily every game. We've been losing those games, but um, you know, he's been distributing the ball more, limiting the turnovers, and he's been so much more efficient and effective. And I've loved every second of it. So sorry, I just wanted to give Tahad his flowers. I still love Tahad Pettiford.
This will tell you how long ago I wrote this. Most consistent player is Keyshawn Hall.
Yeah, buddy.
Which I would say
He
points wise, he is still the most consistent, but
he is consistent, but what is he consistent at?
yeah. Big wins over St. John's and then Florida. So this must have been right after the Florida game. And then the final little note, the constant pressure on the rim could cause other teams problems, which I still think is true about Auburn. Um, haven't been playing good lately, but
That is the one thing that I think I push back on. I think the constant pressure on the rim hurts Auburn.
I think it was when they were winning, it was helping. But now it's not really.
Right, but that was in the first half of the season, and then all the teams caught on, and then they just never made an adjustment.
If Auburn's not hitting shots,
it's a long day.
There was a lot of times Alabama would just not close out on a few guys. They would just I dare you to shoot the basketball. Now every team has those guys. Alabama doesn't have many, but there's a couple guys that teams will dare to shoot. So, but Auburn might not even make the tournament, so it might not even matter. We'll see. Just depends on what happens in the bubble, like we said.
I'm not too worried about it. Whatever happens, happens.
Should Auburn do the NIT if they don't make it?
I could care less, to be honest. I would say no. But at the same time, why not? It's all.
Yeah.
I imagine it being Stephen Pearl's first year, they're going to do it if they get the opportunity.
I think they should, because I think the more reps,
right,
the more plays that Steve Pearl can get under him, the more basketball he can watch from a head coach positioning, the more inbound plays he can draw up in critical situations. Like, it all helps him. So I know it's kind of embarrassing going from Final Four to NIT, but like, you got to look at the future of your program, and right now you have to be all in on Stephen Pearl, and I think to do that, I think the NIT would be beneficial if they don't make the tournament.
Uh, yeah, I agree. Every bit of basketball that Stephen Pearl can head coach this season, by all means, do it. I have no complaints, no pushback, no worries. So will I watch?
Eh.
Maybe, maybe. Um,
They used to call Alabama NITU because they were in the NIT every year and did really good in the NIT every year. And then they came into town.
but yeah, I don't have much more on college basketball unless you
Me
have
neither.
something specific.
No, I don't think so.
All right, that's fine with me. So with that being said, we're gonna talk about the big news of today, of right now. We're living in that moment. Um, so the first question I was asked in the comments was thoughts on Raiders draft moves. Well, first off, I just want to say I've really enjoyed, or not enjoyed, but I've really liked what the Raiders have been doing so far in free agency. Currently, they've gotten a lot of good signings. I'm looking at them right now. They traded for Taron Johnson from the Bills, signed Tyler Linderbaum, which is a huge steal from the Ravens. Signed Quiddy Pay, another, I think, really good player. I'm assuming he is Max Crosby's replacement. Signed a
Yeah.
pair of linebackers, N'Kobe Dean and Quay Walker. Both very decent guys that you can put on the field at any time, and I think they're going to do what they need to do. Um, Jalen Naylor, um, we're going to see what he does. And then corner Eric Stokes, and I think that's a phenomenal pickup as well. So just, we're going to see more of what they do this offseason. I really hope they pick up more offensive linemen to help out Ashton Genty and to prepare Fernando Mendoza um, for a good start over there in Las Vegas. I think that's the biggest weakness for Las Vegas is that offensive line. So just with the signing of Tyler Linderbaum today is huge. That is outstanding. Um, Definitely need to get some help on those guards. We'll see what they do. So I think that's the first move they should really make before the draft. Obviously, they're going to take Fernando Mendoza. I would like them to take, maybe a true wide receiver one or future two if they have the ability. I think this is a pretty solid wide receiver class. Um, and really kind of just look for Max Crosby's replacement now that he's gone. Someone to lock down that defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I really like the Tyler Lindenbaum pickup. Young guy, I think he's like 24, 25, something like that.
I can't believe the Ravens just
Um,
let him go. That's
yeah. I
that's
mean,
crazy
he's
to me.
young,
Very, and
so he's a
he's
guy
an
that
excellent
can,
center.
yeah, he's a guy that can build chemistry. He's not too young, so he's not quite a veteran, but he's well experienced in the league. But he still has lots of room to grow with Fernando Mendoza. That can be a combination that we see for years and years and years to come. I think that's really important, especially bringing in a rookie quarterback. Um, at least assuming so in this year's draft with the first overall pick. So I think that was a incredible pick. I think you said Stokes. They picked up Stokes,
Mm-hmm.
the defensive back. They need a lot of help. They have the number one pick for a reason. They need a lot of help. So bringing in veteran talent that is proven, um, extremely important. Because the way, whether we agree with it or not, the way they shed off QB so fast if they don't immediately succeed is puts a lot of pressure on these organizations to put a good team around them right away to help them out as much as possible. Because Fernando's not going to come in and just shock the world. At least he probably isn't. It's rare that a rookie does. He'll be good, but he won't be great. So putting as much help around him will be incredibly important. Obviously, you have Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty. Those are going to be two great pieces. Adding the center, kind of the quarterback of the offensive line, and Tyler Lindenbaum, huge. So to answer Wancho's question, the Raiders have been having a really good offseason so far, and it's only going to get better because we still haven't even gotten to the draft.
Right, I totally agree. So far they're doing pretty good. They're one of the better, more active teams in free agency, and they're looking good.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
And honestly, the head coach that they're bringing in, great decision. Klubiak, something like that. The guy from Seattle.
mm-hmm.
Um, so I think the Raiders over the next few years are going to be a threat in the AFC. They play in a tough division or tough division in a tough conference, but it's I think they are going to be a threat in the next few years.
Yeah, I agree. Another team that I think will have a good turnaround. There's two teams that are turning their program around right now as we speak, and that is the New York Giants and the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Both of these brand new coaching staffs have been very, very active in the free agency and trade talks. I'm excited to see both. I'm extremely excited. Obviously, like who's not excited for the Giants? But I'm extremely excited for the Titans because look at the coaching staff that they've acquired.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh is going to be the head coach. They got what's his name? I'm blanking as the OC. Giants head coach Brian Daboll.
If you
They
did,
got Brian Daboll to run OC. I just think with Robert Saleh as the head coach and the defensive mastermind, and then you have Brian Daboll on the offensive side, and that's all he has to worry about. I think this is going to be an extremely well put together team, well coached team. They have Cam Ward, an extremely good talent. They're pretty active in free agency right now. I've been seeing a lot of pickups on the defensive side of the ball. So if I'm a Tennessee Titan fan, I would be extremely excited for that.
Yeah, still have a lot of holes to fill, but you're probably going to have high draft picks, and obviously this year and probably the next year. So you're not trying to necessarily win this year. A few years from now, I could definitely see a big spike up in production from them because I do think they made the right coaching hires. They brought in wide receiver help today, I believe. It was either yesterday or today. They brought in Wan'Dale Robinson, who I believe was with the Giants, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So that's a guy that Brian Daboll is familiar with. So that's good. He's proven he has had a lot of experience. He will be good for Cam Ward, who I think Cam Ward has a good jump this year. So I think the Titans do take a jump this year. May not totally reflect in necessarily getting like draft pick positioning wise. Like they may probably still have a top 10 draft pick next year, well inside the top 10. But I think what you watched this past year and what you watched this year is going to clearly be a much different and better product. And that's really what should be the goal right now for the Giants. Or not the Giants, the Titans.
Let's see. And the Giants have been killing it as well. I mean, they got Tremaine Edmonds and Isaiah Likely today. Two crazy steals I didn't expect them to get. Tremaine Edmonds, an extremely underrated linebacker, and Isaiah Likely finally going to get his chance to be tight end one, which Baltimore should have been had him at tight end one. I don't know why you're still holding on to Mark Andrews, but that's neither here nor there. He's going to get his chance. How about your Pittsburgh Steelers? I see they got a few good signings. They got my very own Jamel Dean. I love Jamel, former Auburn Tiger. They traded for someone, a wide receiver I think is extremely talented. But I will say I'm very confused on the Michael Pittman trade. And let me explain why. Trading George Pickens, right? Locker room cancer was the reason. To get DK Metcalf, right? Another locker room cancer, in my opinion. And then you're going to trade for a very, very similar archetype with Michael Pittman. To me, it's just very conflicting because at that point, why wouldn't you just keep George Pickens? And that's my initial thinking because I think George Pickens out of the three is the best wide receiver that there is. Between DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman. I think George Pickens would be the best in that group. So that just leads me to think like, why are we going? Why are we trading away George Pickens to get the same wide receiver twice? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
which no disrespect to Michael Pittman, I think this is a great pickup for them. If anything, I would now move DK Metcalf. I would not want DK. I would want out of DK Metcalf if I was a Pittsburgh Steeler. But that's my opinion. And I think that gives the leverage to do that because now you have that big body go get it guy, and you can replace DK Metcalf with depth, with a different archetype of receiver, with for position of need or draft picks, whatever you want, you know. So we'll see what comes of that. I just don't like the pairing of both,
Yeah.
and
I
losing
think
George Pickens out of it all.
Yeah, I think obviously this is a different regime now than the one that traded George Pickens. So I think that needs to be taken in consideration as well. Not really the same people making the deals. Maybe if it was, the current regime when they had George Pickens, maybe they never make the trade. Who knows? George Pickens was really just like he didn't want to be there. It was clear at the end he did not want to be there. He was just causing issues. Typical Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver front one activities. Um, so I really actually don't have a problem with them moving on from him. I thought you could have gotten more. Um, I can't remember exactly what they got for him, but I remember whenever it happened, I was like, well, at least he's gone, but I feel like we could have gotten more. I am a big fan of bringing in Michael Pittman. I think one thing that they're trying to do is if it was very apparent last year that the Steelers needed help at the wide receiver position, which was ironic because they just traded George Pickens, but you just set that aside. They clearly needed help. And so I think that's just the number one thing on their mind. If nothing else, we are going to have weapons this year. I think you test the market for DK, but you do it very quietly because the last thing you want is to piss him off because I do think he is actually pretty happy right now in Pittsburgh. Like I don't think he's looking for a way out. If he is, there's been no news of it. So I think as long as he's happy, he just had one incident last year, but the whole rest of the year he played good football for Pittsburgh and pretty well behaved himself. And his one incident didn't even have anything to do with like conduct within the team. So I think they're just really trying to bring in as many weapons as possible, whether it be for an elderly Aaron Rodgers or maybe a new quarterback. Who knows? Not Malik Willis, as we found out today, who signed with the Dolphins. Um, it'd be maybe Ty Simpson. I've heard buzz around his name. Whatever, whoever it is. Um, put in pieces around him. I do fully expect them to take a wide receiver in the draft too, probably the second or third round. If there's one of those really good guys, Malachi Lemon, yada yada, that still find a way to sink down to 21, I think they pick. I think they pick him first round. I don't think they sink. So I think the first round, it's a very much so like best available kind of situation. And if it's really not an area of need, then I think they shoot. So like if Pittsburgh has an area of need and the best available clearly are not something that they need, that's when I think they might take a shot at like a Ty Simpson to say, what's the worst that could happen? Like let's just give him a shot. Who knows? Um, Either way, this draft is going to be made up of the second through seventh rounds for Pittsburgh because I think they have 11 or 12 draft picks this year in total. So they have a lot of room to work with and to take shots and to try. So the first round, I'm not even as much worried about. It's the second to seventh rounds that's really gonna kind of show you the direction of the team moving forward. I think so. Overall, happy with the Michael Pittman. All things considered, happy with the Michael Pittman deal because I don't think we gave up really that much for him. And it is an area that we did need. He has proven, and same archetype as DK Metcalf, big-bodied, physical guy, but that's Pittsburgh Steelers football. So I have no problem with them go getting guys that are going to play Pittsburgh Steelers football. Hard nose, go get it, put your head down, jump over dudes, be aggressive. Like that's Steeler football. That's what those two guys are going to do if they don't kill each other by week 1 next year. We'll see. Um, so overall, relatively happy with this what the Steelers did.
Also signed Rico Dowdle, and I think that's a tremendous pickup as well.
Yeah,
Um,
Rico.
you were talking about like quarterback situation. Now we've both talked about this. We both think that Will Howard deserves the shot next year, um, and by
Yes.
all means, I'm not changing my mind at all. But
Mm.
if you're the Steelers or any other team that is looking for a quarterback at that in this situation, I'm foaming at the mouth with a chance at Kyler Murray. I'm still a Kyler Murray believer.
Yeah, me too.
This is going to be a very similar situation to what Tua just had happen. Tua got cut. The Falcons are going to sign him to a vet minimum because he's going to get paid almost a max contract from the Dolphins next year. They don't have to pay him. He's getting paid. So there is going to
Yeah.
be a team out there that can get Kyler Murray for a lot cheaper than he actually is. Um, and I think it will be a great pickup wherever that is. I think Kyler Murray's still a tremendous athlete, still a tremendous quarterback. I just think Arizona had a lack of willpower to want to help him out. There's been a lot of bashing on Kyler Murray, but look at what happened before he got injured. They were 7-0.
Yeah.
They had D Hop. He looked like an MVP candidate. He got hurt. I think he tore it was his ACL, right? I believe.
Yes.
And then when he got back, no D Hop, really no wide receiver. What was that running back? I can't remember his name.
They had
James was it James?
James Conner.
James
James
Conner.
Conner.
He hasn't been the same. So the team has just really regressed from that injury. So the last time that he had a good, competent team around him, they started 7-0. Then he got hurt. Then from the time he returned, it was a completely different team. So I think any team that is willing to try to compete, willing to give him an opportunity, I think it would be a tremendous move to try to go get Kyler Murray. If that's the Steelers, the Vikings, whoever, I just want to see my man Kyler Murray get an opportunity, and I think he will.
I think he will because I think he's still as good. To me, it was more the Cardinals moving on and just wanting a reset more than anything. So yeah, it's kind of what Pittsburgh did with Russell Wilson. They signed him to a minimum because Broncos were still paying him, and he was okay signing to a minimum. You could do the same thing with Kyler Murray, except Kyler Murray's not ancient. Um, so we'll see. I still think everything still plays through. Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers, what he wants to do, I wish he'd hurry up and like just say what he was gonna do. If he wants to come back, sure, I don't care. That's perfectly fine with me. We're not winning a Super Bowl this year anyway, so continue to build draft capital and build towards the future. That's okay with me. I don't care. But don't hold the quarterback position hostage, at least so we
For
can
sure.
either look for the future or whatever we're doing. So I wish he would hurry up and make his decision. Don't care what his decision is, but he needs to make a decision. He won't, but he should. Um, so I would be okay with A-Rod coming back. I would be okay with Kyler Murray coming in. I would be okay if they gave Will Howard a shot. I'd be okay if they drafted a quarterback and gave them a shot. I don't care because we have other pressing needs than just, the quarterback position will work itself out eventually. But we are old in a few areas that need youth infused into them. We need help at wide receiver. And then, of course, we have a whole new coaching staff that has to prove that they are worthy of being in Pittsburgh. So, a lot more questions to answer other than the quarterback position that are more pressing, I think. It's just ironic because quarterback is the most important position, but I don't think you have somebody winning a Super Bowl this year available right now because you're not, Patrick Mahomes isn't going to heal his Achilles or his ACL and come and play in Pittsburgh next year. That's just not happening. So,
Uh, just to answer a question, yo, what up, Andrew? I see you down there. What do you guys? Who do you guys think the sleeper of the draft is? Like draft prospect. And that's a really good question. I don't want to say like a star position, like a skilled position, but the first name that automatically comes to my mind, and I'm going to show love to the Bama boys here. Unfortunately, I'm going to show love to the Bama boys. But I think Jeremy Bernard is a steal, bro. Wherever he goes, he's not talked about in the first or second round. He's really like a third round and on type guy. I think he's a steal. I think Jeremy Bernard is a fantastic wide receiver, really a rack guy, can do whatever you need him to do after the catch, and he can make plays. You know, him and Branch from Georgia, both of those guys, not talked about a whole lot, being one, two, sometimes even third round draft picks, not even in those conversations, but those are really good after catch guys, can make a play, and sometimes that's what you need. Especially when you lack that offense, like a Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, I'm not saying these guys are going to go on to be wide receiver ones, Hall of Fame careers or anything, but I feel like both of these guys, you draft them, and you have an opportunity to get an outstanding number two, like a Chris Godwin type of number two, or Devontae Smith type of number two. Those would be my steals, the first ones that come off of my head. I'm sure if I thought about it a little bit more, I would come up with somebody else. But what do you think, Garrett?
So I agree with you, Jeremy Bernard. I am biased. I think he just makes winning plays. Another guy that I would say, Casey Concepcion.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is going to be a stud in the NFL. Quick, fast, make plays downfield. You need those guys in the NFL. So I'll give you another wide receiver. I'll say KC.
And I know he's gonna go top 15. But Arvell Reese, he's getting completely overlooked by Sony Styles for great reasons. Sony Styles is one of the best looking prospects we've seen in a long time. This is like his measurables and all of his draft combine stuff is insane. So all of this talk about Sony Styles is going to tank Arvell Reese's draft stock, and whatever team can get him lower, great pickup for them. Whether that's at 8 or 15,
Yeah.
It's a great pickup because I think he's a top 5 talent. But because of Sony Styles, I think he's going to fall.
I think he's going to be a top 10 pick. I think he's going to be gone early, and it's whoever gets him, he's going to be a stud. He crossed my mind, but I was like, hey, he's a top 10 pick. I can't say him. But like relative to how people are talking about some other linebackers in this class, specifically Sony Styles, like he is still a top 10 talent. Top 5 talent, he will be a top 10 pick. If he slides anywhere past that, I will be shocked.
I would be extremely shocked.
Yeah. And whoever gets, if say, I don't know who has the 13th pick, but let's say he falls to 13, you get him at 13, you just got a steal in the draft, a major steal at 13.
For sure.
But I don't think he falls that far.
Yeah, it would be extremely crazy if you did. Since we're being biased, I just want to throw in Keldrick Falk.
I thought about him too. I'm not gonna lie.
The guy's he is falling in the draft stock a lot more than I thought. I don't truly understand why. I don't really have no pushback. I think it's just because there's a lot of edge rushers in this class that are very talented. But I do believe that he is still a guy that can be your edge rusher, be your guy, be somebody that you're going to pay millions and millions of dollars one day.
I mean, we both had him top 15 in our first mock draft. He's kind of fallen off that line a little bit.
Really looking more towards 23s, something like that.
Yeah. I'm still thinking he's top 15 talent.
Yeah, I think he's a first-round talent.
Yeah,
for sure.
he's good. Oh, he's easily a first-round talent, I firmly believe. But yeah, he is slipping, which kind of has shocked me just a little bit.
Yeah. But we talked about the Steelers. Don't want to talk about the Bucks, but we're going to RIP to a fantastic career in a Bucks uniform. I'll never get to see Mike Evans suit up as a Buccaneer again, unless he comes back for a retirement tour. Who knows? But unfortunate. The 49ers go and sign Mike Evans for, let me look at the contract. It wasn't anything too crazy. I don't think it was about money for Mike.
He's coming off an injury and stuff.
Right.
So he's just looking for somewhere that he thinks he can win at, and so I think he was willing to take a pay cut. Well, and from what he could have gotten.
With everything that's going on for the 49ers, it's a great fit for them both. They really don't have a true wide receiver number one. They have a really good offensive system there. 3 years, $60 million.
Yeah.
So nothing extremely crazy. He's still getting paid fairly, but you know, nothing crazy. So I think that's a good pickup for the San Francisco 49ers. An extremely tough loss for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that automatically should shift their focus. I don't know what you do with Chris Godwin here. He's getting older, been riddled with injuries ever since he's come to Tampa Bay. When he's good, when he's healthy, he's good. But the health is an issue. You got Jalen McMillan. You got Emeka Egbuka. I think it's kind of time for these young guys to, get their chance and move on from Chris Godwin, maybe patch up another hole, or take another guy in the draft. I think that would be a good one too this year, all things considered with the wide receiver class that it is. But we picked up Kenneth Gainwell and Alex Anzalone. I think Alex Anzalone as a linebacker is a fantastic pickup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm excited to have him as a Buck next year. That'll be very, very fun. So we'll see what happens there. I don't have much more on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A couple trades that happened today were Trent McDuffie to the Rams. Insane. That's an insane pickup for them. I don't know what all they traded, but whatever it was, I think it's automatically worth it because they didn't have a true CB1 in that room. And that defense really kind of let them down towards the end of the season, just not being able to get that stop for Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams offense. So I think Trent McDuffie will be an amazing pickup. They also signed Jalen Watson, another really good corner to go into that room. Let's see. Another trade that happened today was the Bills traded for DJ Moore. I did not see that until I was scrolling through this, and I was like, what in the world? How did I miss that? DJ Moore to the Bills. I think that's a scary offense. But at the same time, I thought this was Buffalo's year, so they're really going to have to prove something to a lot of people this upcoming year. But they're making the moves to do so. I don't completely understand why the Chicago Bears are moving on from him. But I know they got some good draft capital. So we'll see what they do with that. I'm sure they'll draft some sort of replacement. And I've said it a million times at this point. It's a really good wide receiver class. So if there's a time to take a swing, it is right now. You can get good talent in the third round, like we said, Jeremy Bernard, Zachariah Branch, and Casey Concepcion, all guys that aren't necessarily first-round guys, maybe not even second-round guys, that you can take in the third round, and they're great wide receivers. So, if there's a time to take a swing, it is now.
Yeah, I think from the Bills' perspective, like you had to do it. At the receiver position, not only were they bad to begin with, they were hurt throughout the playoffs, and it cost them big time. So getting Josh Allen at help was extremely important. From the Bears' perspective, I think I agree with you. I think you only do it if you're looking and saying, there's a guy in the draft that we think we can get, maybe in the second or third round, that we think is going to be very good for us. So I would fully expect them to pick up a wide receiver in the draft. I was kind of surprised. I knew the Bills would make a move. I didn't know it'd be DJ Moore.
I was expecting more of like a Brian Robinson or Brian Thomas Jr. Not Brian Robinson. Brian Thomas Jr. from the Jaguars.
Yeah, they had to make a move, and I thought they would. I wasn't expecting quite this. I do think it's a good move for them.
Extremely good move.
Yes, very good move for the Bills. Questionable for the Bears, but it just comes down to how they fill that spot in the draft. If they do in the draft, I fully expect them to. But I think this can be one of those trades that works out for both teams in the end.
Yeah, I agree. But like I said, my biggest concern is, sure, you see a prospect that you think can replace him. You just had a tremendous playoff run. Caleb Williams was clicking with DJ Moore and Luther Burden and Roma Dunze. So that's my biggest concern is Caleb Williams looked good. He looked consistent. he looked comfortable. And then you take away one of his key targets, it's gonna mess some rhythm up. It's gonna mess up that flow. But sometimes you got to take a step back to take two steps forward. So we'll see. We'll see what happens for them. Um, I do want to talk about the Ravens a little bit. They traded for Mad Max Crosby. The only thing I don't like about this trade is I assume this is because of the trade. They're losing out on a lot of talent right now. They've lost Linderbaum. They've lost Likely. Um, some of these guys are just walking, and for contracts that I'm sure they could have paid. But I think it's like it has something to do with the fact that they just traded for Mad Max Crosby. That's a big contract. I don't know what their contract situation is like, but I would assume that is one of the reasons they're losing out on so much.
Yeah, obviously, new head coach. They're going to take a new philosophy in with them. Um, but yeah, I would agree. To me, they're just going all in. They're trying to win now. They know that their championship window is now in the next couple years. Um, so there's a reason why they gave up 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby, yada yada. Like they're planning on those draft picks not being worth a whole lot because they are picking 30, 31st, 32nd because they are competing for a Super Bowl over the next few years. We'll see if it works out for them. Um, it may work out for them. They may go win a Super Bowl. I have a feeling if they go win the Super Bowl, they will still find a way to lose to Pittsburgh that year. That's just how it goes. Um, and that's really all I care about. So, um, yeah, it was a good pickup, but they are losing a lot. Um, so we'll see how it works out for them. I hope it works out terribly for them. Not personal to any player on that team. I actually like most of the players on that roster. I just don't like the Ravens. Just to keep it simple.
Some other notable signings for teams: the Chargers signing Tyler Badaz, center, much needed offensive line help, good for them. The Miami Dolphins taking a swing on Malik Willis, extremely excited for him. I think he's a great talent. I'll be excited to see what the Dolphins and him do in the in this coming year. New Orleans Saints signing Travis Etienne. What does that mean
Yeah.
for Alvin Kamara and his future? Does he retire? Does he not? The Jets, they've been pretty active getting Demario Davis. That's a pretty good signing. Oh, we haven't even talked about the crazy one. The Kansas City Chiefs somehow have the money to pay the Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're getting this money from. Obviously, a tremendous pickup. It's crazy how they can do that and how they can afford it.
Well, they get the money from the Travis Kelce contract expiring and him signing a new
Right.
one
Him signing
for
like
dirt cheap.
a 12. I think it says one year, 12
Yeah.
million.
So that's where they got that. That's where they freed up the money from. They're not paying it to Travis Kelce, so you went and signed the freshly Super Bowl MVP. How the
Right.
Seahawks let him go is beyond me, and how
Crazy.
we let the Chiefs get him um, is also beyond me. But great pickup for the Chiefs. Great pickup.
Dallas Cowboys signed Jalen Thompson. I think that's a good pickup for that secondary, and traded for Rashawn Gary. So trying to fix that defense, it was atrocious last year. Cleveland Browns signing an offensive guard in Zion Johnson. I think that's a pretty good pickup. They had a weak offensive line last year. Hopefully they're looking to predict their quarterback of the future. Should do. Hopefully. Let's see what's some other good pickups here. Atlanta Falcons, they've been doing pretty good. I like the 1 year flyer on Tua, with the Michael Penix injury and obviously no Kirk Cousins. I don't think Tua should be anybody's long-term fix. I think, in my personal opinion, Tua needs to retire. But nonetheless, good bridge quarterback until either Penix gets back and you want to move forward with him, or you draft another guy and restart.
Speaking on the Tua, I think this was smart for the Falcons. I do not think this was smart for Tua. I thought Tua should have gone somewhere where it wouldn't have been a big deal him sitting. I thought he should have gone somewhere like for super cheap, like a San Francisco, like a Kansas City, like the LA Rams, somewhere that has proven quarterback coaching that he can sit under, whether it's a full year or a half a year because they trade him. I think that would be a lot more valuable versus going in a situation that you're going to play in right away, but you're not necessarily going to get better. You'll get better, but you're not going to get leaps and bounds better like you would learning under Andy Reid, like you would under Sean McVay or under Kyle Shanahan, obviously, or even going to the Vikings. Um, I thought he should have gone to one of those teams, but I'm not Tua. He made his decision. He will get to play football next year, which is what he wants. I hope it works out for him. But I do think it was the wrong decision on his personal part. But then again, I agree with you. I think he is walking a fine line when it comes to concussions right now.
Yeah, we'll see what his future holds, and I think it's a questionable decision as well. Um, I just don't know what you gain from going to the Atlanta Falcons, knowing you're not a long term fix, knowing you're a bridge quarterback.
Yeah.
And it's the Atlanta Falcons. You're not gonna win. There's no room for development for you because the injured quarterback is their quote unquote future if that's who they decide to stick with. You're not learning anything from anybody. You saw what what's his name? You saw how his quarterback situation worked over there in Cleveland. Um, I don't like it for Tua, specifically for Tua. But we'll see what happens. I mean, it would be better if he was at least getting paid a good amount of money. He's getting paid the vet minimum. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know the thought behind this move. But Tua is his own man. Tua's going to do his own thing. So if that's what Tua thinks is best for Tua, by all means, go ahead and prove me wrong. Make me shut up.
He just wants to play and prove himself.
No, for
But I
sure.
think I think he should take the other route. I think
I
he
mean,
should sit
but
and get coached up.
even like you said, you can go to Kansas City.
Yeah,
Who is their starter next
the,
year?
the Kansas City job is open right now to go take for 1 year. And
And I would much rather
yeah,
be under Andy Reid than Kevin Stefanski.
100%.
I don't know why.
100%. I would have been crawling to Kansas City saying I will play for free. Just let me get under the system for a year. Let me learn under Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid for a year. Have Travis Kelce to throw to. Have Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP, at running back to back me up. And then you do that for a year. Your stock, you would think, shoots up. And then you get a more longer term contract in a team that needs a quarterback for a few years to come. Kind of like what Sam Darnold did. That's the route he should have taken. He didn't. Whatever. His personal decision. I hope it works out, but I don't think it will, to be honest, unfortunately. I love Tua, but I don't think it'll work out.
I mean, hey, whatever happens. You know, like I'm interested to see how it goes, because I think this can be a good offense. I think Kyle Pitts last year kind of proved that, you know, he's not a complete and total bust. It was more so just a system. Obviously, you have Drake London. He's Drake London. You have Bijan Robinson. You have Zacchaeus, I believe. Is that his name? That wide receiver. I don't think they got Darnell Mooney anymore. I think Darnell Mooney left, correct?
I think so.
I think he got signed by somebody today in free agency. But they still have a decent wide receiver core, including Kyle Pitts in that tight end group. They got, I think they signed Austin Hooper today, so we'll see what happens. It's a completely and totally doable offense. We'll see what he looks like. Yeah, I think this is really, especially with kind of putting all his eggs on Atlanta, I think this is his one and final shot. If it doesn't go well here, I think you can almost call it a wrap or a career backup. Who knows? And I don't think Tua is bad at all by any means. When he was completely healthy, he led the league in completion percentage, and he looked elite. And Tua has always looked that way when healthy, but he just can't stay healthy. Um,
Even go back to college.
right.
Couldn't stay healthy.
Couldn't
Yeah.
stay healthy in college either. So, look, we'll see. No bash against Tua. I think he's a tremendous quarterback. I think he's a tremendous guy. I just think the wheels are starting to fall off.
Yeah, I agree. Oh well, I love Tua. One of my favorite players to watch in college. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Well, I think we pretty much covered every single big
We yeah
NFL
we hit almost.
free agency.
We said almost every NFL team at some point. So
yeah,
whether it was
every
good or
team's made a
bad.
good move for the most part. Some teams have made no moves at all, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't have much more else unless you do.
No, I don't. Not on the NFL. No.
You have anything at all? You said not on the NFL.
Well, I did just. I was watching it, and I did get a notification that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander did just tie Wilt Chamberlain's record for 20-point games in a row, 126.
Woo.
Incredibly impressive. This Thursday
That's
against
insane.
Boston. Yeah, this Thursday against Boston, you'll have the chance to break it, which is an insane record. Anytime
I'll
you
be
break a
sure
record that
to,
Wilt Chamberlain has held, that Wilt Chamberlain is currently holding, it is a record that you think Magic, Kareem, even like a Bill Russell, LeBron, Kobe, MJ, Steph, KD, those guys never touched. And you're doing it. You have the opportunity to do it this Thursday. I probably won't be able to watch it, but I will for sure be waiting to see if he does or not. I'm looking forward to it.
I will try to be tuned into that.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations to SGA.
I love SGA.
For getting there. Yeah.
Big SGA guy. I think he's overhated.
He is. Look,
but
I don't. If all it takes is flopping and foul baiting to get to 126, almost 127 now, straight 20-point plus games, then the record would be much higher. But it's not, because that's not all he does. He is an incredibly talented, skilled basketball player and is deserving of his flowers.
What was I about to say? Oh, I don't know if you've seen some of the clips for like what Wilt Chamberlain was doing back in the day, but they're funny. I'll tell you that. Have you seen like where his teammates shooting the ball and he'll just grab it out of the middle of the air? And
that was back. Yeah,
Yo,
before
bro.
all the rules and stuff. Wilt Chamberlain was
We got to
just a
really
menace.
talk about some of these Wilt Chamberlain conversations, man, because if that's what he was doing, whew.
Hey, for the time, he was the peak of basketball. So for his time,
That is an insane way to get to 100 points. I'll tell you that.
oh yeah, I mean nobody could stop him back then. So
No, he was a tall, lanky freak of nature back then.
yes, that could run, jump, dunk. He was like if you threw Giannis and added a couple inches, honestly, of height, and just throw him back then, like that's.
Well, you'd take off a lot of pounds. I'll tell you that before you put him back there.
Yeah, well,
Maybe like rookie year Giannis.
Yeah, because Giannis is the beast.
But no, he
Giannis,
was way athletically ahead of his time, way bigger than most of his era.
Yeah, for sure. The fact
Definitely
that
a
he
one-on-one back in the day.
it's so crazy that like Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell existed at the exact same time. We know Wilt for being just a freak of nature, breaking every record, and then Bill Russell was just winning every championship. So I think it's kind of funny that they existed literally the exact same time.
Well, two pieces of history that will never go away, ever.
No.
And they played against each other when they were like 18s.
They hold too many. Yeah, they hold too many records. Nobody's beating 11 championships. Nobody's ever beating that. 11 championships. If you won 11 championships today, you can have the GOAT conversation. Like if you're the guy on 11 championship teams, you got it. Because that'd just be so impressive.
For sure.
It's never happening.
No. Like I said, only like 8 teams. There was a reason he won all of those championships.
Yeah, right.
But hey, it is what it is. Obviously, every era has something different. Um, but I don't have much more. I will be tuning into that Thursday night game to hopefully watch SGA break that Will Chamberlain record. That is an insane record to break, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it because they hate SGA. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he does it so quietly too. I think the real conversation should be how far does he get? Because I don't see him stopping. Like I seriously would see him getting to
Right.
150 plus. Like I seriously think he beats the record, and I think he ends up beating it so bad that nobody touches it. Like we will be having grandkids, and we'll be talking about Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's 20-point game in a row record because I think he just dominates. I think he kills this record, and nobody touches it.
I'm with you. I totally agree.
We'll see though. We'll see though. Good for him.
No, for sure. For sure. But if I don't have anything and you don't have anything, I guess that means we have reached our time for the day. One more RIP to my man Mikey boy. Sad day to be a Bucks fan. Sad day to be a Bucks fan. I never thought this day would come, honestly. But
yeah, no, I didn't think he was gonna leave. I thought they'd find a way to keep him.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. Thought he was gonna retire a Buck. Oh well. Well, with that being said, thank you for listening, watching, whenever, wherever, and however you took in this episode of the WarTide podcast. We appreciate you for staying patient in our time of inconsistency. But like I said, after March Madness, we plan on doing once every other week, so that way we don't have to feel more pressure. Kind of more relaxed. We have more to talk about. And I'm excited for next week's episode. Bracket.
Real excited.
First bracket.
It's my favorite time of year. My favorite time of year.
Get into more competition between me and Garrett because it's kind of slowed down since college football season has stopped. So we're both excited for that. And we'll see you guys there. 7:15 next Monday. All things going well, hopefully. And we'll see you guys then. We appreciate you. Peace.